Hello, my name is Sam Feltham, and welcome to Expert Interviews on Smash the Fat. I'm here with the great Jonathan Bailor, health and fitness researcher and author of The Calorie Myth. How you doing, John?
What's up, Sam? I'm doing really well, brother. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Now, we had you on the show about, what was it? It's probably almost 6 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that, wasn't it? And we were talking about the smarter science of slim. Now, you've got a new book for us called The Calorie Myth. And as you know, I'm a big fan of trying to debunk the calorie myth, so it's quite fitting. So tell us more about the calorie myth.
So, Sam, as your experiment showed, no one here is saying that calories don't exist. I mean, calories obviously exist, and when you ate them in surplus, you gain some muscle or you gain some fat. So calories exist. They're not unicorns. It's just that calories are not what we should be thinking about at all. And in fact, when we start to think about calories, we end up in a very sick, let's call it this, a big fat mess. The big fat mess that we're in today is because we've been lied to in terms of what we should be thinking about. We've been fed a load of calorie myths. And Sam, here's one example, and this just came out. So one of my awesome readers just sent me this report put out by Credit Suisse, and any of your listeners can check this out. Just search online for Credit Suisse. It's Suisse. It's actually a financial firm that put out a report to capture the economic impact of obesity. Here's an example of how pernicious the calorie myth is. So in this report, they mention that according to the UK National Health Service, that the average person needs about 25 to 2,700 calories per day, and that if you look at the actual data around what we're consuming around 3,700 calories per day. Now, here's the problem with the calorie myth. They say, okay, there you go. There's the explanation for why we're gaining fat. But hold on, Sam. Take one step back. If those numbers are right, that means the average person is over-consuming about 1,000 calories per day. That means, according to calorie math, we should gain 2 pounds per week. That means every single year, every single person should gain 100 pounds. That's not happening. So, like, why is this? Why are we even talking? Like, that's obviously false. There's obviously something else going on, but it's just like see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Just like it's so obviously wrong. So that's why I appreciate what you're doing.
Awesome, yeah, and it's just so crazy. And as you say, sort of see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, just about these things, and they just seem to skim over the fact that. So, how do you explain, if we are eating over 1,000 calories a day, the fact that not everybody is gaining 100 pounds every single year? It's just absolutely crazy. So, tell us more about how you try to debunk the calorie myth as well.
Part of the problem, Sam, is that especially in the media and the internet nutrition community, people like to make things black and white. So people see your experiments and they potentially see you saying calories are like unicorns. They just don't exist. And clearly that's not what you're saying. Like, calories exist. We all get that. But we don't need to consciously count them. That is the myth. Because, for example, how did any human being avoid overweight and diabetes prior to the current 3 generations when no one even knew what a calorie was? Like, if calories were so central to this and the conscious regulation of them was required, how is anybody maintaining health and fitness without counting calories? So the question is not eat whatever you want, just don't eat too much. Like, what we've been told, eat 1,400 calories in McDonald's if you want, because it's only 1,400 calories, and a can of Coke really isn't that bad for you. It's only 140 calories, and frankly, it's really not that bad for you because you only need to go outside and jog for a half hour at 3 miles an hour to burn off those calories. When you equivalence class everything that's edible and basically say spinach is the same as Coke and it really doesn't matter in the first place because you can just jog it all off at the end of the day, you end up like, that's just wrong. It's patently wrong. It's not even controversially wrong. It's obviously false. But that's what we're told. We're told to just eat fewer calories of an already nutrient deficient diet. And if you want to make people sick and sad, starve them. And that's what we're being told to do, is to starve ourselves. Like, we're already starving internally because 40 to 60% of the food we're eating isn't actually food and isn't providing us what we need to be healthy and to manifest the purpose why we were put on this earth. And then we're told that we're flawed, and because we're flawed, we just need to eat less of those foods, and then we get depressed, and then a third of our population is on antidepressant medications, which further screws up their metabolism and makes them gain even more weight. Like, we're not broken. Our brain is brilliant. We have this thing called the homeostatic regulatory system for everything else in our body. Right? If your blood sugar goes up, your body automatically tries to bring it down. If you don't sleep enough, your body makes you more tired. If you drink more water, you pee more. You don't need to think about these things. Hold your eyes open right now for 30 seconds. You'll notice at the end, you'll blink a lot without trying. That's because there's a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, which controls, and your amygdala, which controls these baseline metabolic functions. Just like you don't need to monitor the amount of riboflavin you take in and the amount of riboflavin you excrete out, you can't have to monitor the amount of calories you take in and the amount of calories you burn off, because besides it being impossible to do that, like, you can't precisely measure those things because, for example, how many calories is your brain burning? You have no idea. How many calories are you spending synthesizing new protein? You have no idea, nor can you ever know. So not only is it impossible, but it's just not practical. Why take this part of our brain, the part of our brain that makes us uniquely human, our neocortex, that which allows us to record podcasts and write poetry and care for others, and spend it doing things which have to be automatic for an organism to survive?
Incredible answer, John. And I think you really just hit the nail on the head in terms of using the riboflavin analogy, in terms of the fact that we don't count that at all, or any vitamins and minerals. I don't specifically do that, but as you say, our homeostatic system will sort it out for us as long as we're eating real foods, basically. And it's when we eat these fake foods is when we get this biochemical imbalance, and then our metabolism goes out the window, and then we start to store more fat, or our brain starts to shrink and we start to get depressed and things like this as well, because we just aren't getting the right amount of nutrients for our body to regulate how much nutrients go to the brain or go into your hair to make it grow and things like this. And it's another great point in terms of the fact that, I don't know how many calories go into making my hair grow. It grows pretty quick, so I suspect a considerable amount more than, say, somebody that's completely bald. I mean, it's crazy, So should we take that into the calorie formula? So when somebody completely loses their hair on top of their head, there's no calories going into making the hair grow. Do we need to minus that from the calorie formula, John?
That's a brilliant point, Sam. And sometimes people, they hear this and they're like, oh, this is wizardry. Like you're saying, oh, the body, there's this little person in your brain that's consciously counting calories. No, I mean, like, back up a second. The hair on your head will grow indefinitely, right? Like, if you never cut the hair on your head, it will continue to grow. Your eyebrows don't work that way. Like, your eyebrows automatically stop growing at some point. That's not magic or voodoo. Like, the body, that's your genes. Like, the body is really smart, and that's the opposite of voodoo. Like, it's not voodoo to say that blood sugar is homeostatically regulated. We all, like, the Wikipedia article actually uses the word homeostatically regulated for blood sugar. So why would just this one, like in your respiratory system, hold your breath? Your body will automatically balance you out. Drink more water. Your body will automatically balance you out. Why would this one system, a system that is so critical to our survival, and that every other animal in the world seems to, I mean, they stay healthy and slim without counting calories. So why would this one system be the exception? And as you said, Sam, the problem is that the system can be broken. And the system isn't broken from a surplus of calories. The system gets broken by the wrong quality of calories. Just like if you can breathe all the clean air you want, and it will never break down your respiratory system. But if you smoke and you breathe in the wrong quality of air, it can break down your respiratory system. If you eat the wrong quality of edible products, you can break down your metabolic system, and you can change this homeostatic regulation to work to balance you out automatically in a state of sickness and excess fat, rather than to balance you out in a state of slimness and health. And sometimes people say, well, Jonathan, if your body did actually work by default to balance you out around a point of slimness and health, then how could so many of us be overweight? Doesn't the obesity epidemic disprove that the body tries to balance us out automatically? And Sam, while that may seem like it makes sense on the surface, it's absolutely absurd, because there's also this thing called diabetes. And again, remember, diabetes is a breakdown of the homeostatic regulation of blood sugar. So no one perceives diabetes as refuting the fact that blood sugar is automatically balanced. They see it as a breakdown of the system, which is designed to automatically balance blood sugar. However, people do see obesity as quote unquote disproving that the body tries to automatically balance out energy when it absolutely doesn't. And in fact, Sam, I mentioned that data earlier about the 1,000-calorie surplus. There's a study that really just blew my mind out of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill here in the States. And they did an analysis in the States and showed that today in the States we're consuming about 500, in this study they estimated it a bit lower of a caloric surplus. They said we're eating 570 more calories per person than we were in the 70s. And if you actually do the math, that means the average American should weigh over 1,000 pounds. And
wow.
we do, and Sam, but to be clear, like, we do weigh more. The average American weighs about 20 pounds more. But so that's like 98% less weight gain than we should have gained. Why is that? That's because the body is trying to balance us out. Like, the body was able to absorb and burn off 98% of the weight we should have gained, because again, it doesn't want to be obese, it doesn't want to be diabetic. But when we break that system down, it becomes nearly impossible to avoid those conditions, because now we're in a 24/7, 365 battle against our body, when if we just flip that system, Sam, we can all be more like naturally thin people, where our body fights to keep us slim and healthy, much like for so many of us right now, it seems to be fighting to keep us heavy and sick.
Spot on, John. Spot on, John. And for all the listeners and watchers here, just succinctly, as much as you can, what can they do if they are overweight or obese? What can they do to reverse this without counting calories?
So 3 steps, Sam, and I need everyone to do this in order. Step number 1 is to get your scale, if you own a bathroom scale, and to get your cell phone with a video camera on it and take one of your friends out in the backyard with a baseball bat or a sledgehammer or a mallet and have your friend videotape you destroy that scale. Because not only is a scale a poison suppressive remnant of judging your value by a number, but it also rewards starving yourself, and it's just a physical representation of these calorie myths. So I want you to physically destroy your scale, videotape it, share it with your friends and family, because that will be a symbolic representation of you freeing yourself from these calorie myths. And if you do want to monitor something, just monitor your waist circumference. It's a much better indication of health. And if you're into aesthetics as well. Destroy your scale, videotape it, share it. Second thing is just, if at however possible, if it's just 21 days, 30 days, simply eat the following in this order of volume. Non-starchy vegetables. So these are vegetables that you could eat raw. You don't have to eat them raw, but you could eat them raw. So think leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula, romaine lettuce. Think cucumbers, mushrooms, tomatoes, asparagus, broccoli. And if you don't like the taste of them, cook them in a bunch of healthy natural fats. You'll love the taste of them. Get some butter, get some coconut oil. Non-starchy vegetables are a wonderful healthy fat delivery mechanism. So non-starchy vegetables make up about half your plate. Nutrient-dense proteins, these are seafoods and non-toxic meats. So grass-fed beef, humanely raised chickens, and really, again, anything from the sea. And don't just eat, white fish. Try to eat some fatty fish like salmon. Enjoy mollusks if you've never before. Those are clams and oysters and mussels, things like that. So a third of your plate, nutrient-dense protein. And then the rest of your plate should be low fructose fruits. So berries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. or citrus fruits, oranges, limes, there we go, grapefruits,
That's
and
so
lemons.
fun.
And then, of course, whole food fats. So think nuts and seeds, especially cocoa, coconut, macadamia, avocado, flax seeds, and chia seeds. Really wonderful options. Eat as much of those foods in that order as you want whenever you're hungry. And then third and finally, so you destroyed your scale. You're eating the most nutrient-dense, brilliant, what I call sane foods in the world whenever you want, in whatever quantity you want. And the third thing would be exercise less and sleep more. So if you're waking up early to jog, stop. We are over-exercised, overstressed, and underslept. And if you want to break your metabolism down rapidly, trade sleep for traditional exercise, and you will break your metabolism real quick. So exercise less but smarter, exercise with more resistance for shorter periods of time, and sleep for longer periods of time.
Absolutely perfect advice there, John. Perfect advice. And where can people find the Calorie Myth and more information about you?
So please check out caloriemythbook.com. There's a massive amount of free resources, a free 28-day program, free daily tips, and of course you can order the book. And there's a podcast as well called The Smarter Science of Slim Show. But all that information, all those free resources, and the book itself can be found at caloriemythbook.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for today, John. I know that you're a busy guy, and yeah, I wish you all the best in the world with the book.
Well, thank you so much, Sam. I will continue to smash the fat right along with you.
Perfect. Be well and smash it out, John.
Thanks, Sam.